done by mail.
Justice, you considered the UFO thing a good segue to Secret Invasion, and then you intentionally stepped away from UFO to talk about something else.
Because I forgot about it. I wanted to, well,
AI.
Yes,
Secret Invasion.
Well, that
Title
was why.
sequence.
Yeah, the AI thing made me think about it. But yeah, there's the Rotten Tomatoes score for Season 1 of Secret Invasion, 56%. 59% from the audience. That's nice. Let's read a couple reviews they got here. Secret Invasion! We're doing the whole show review right now. And some spoilers later. A little bit later. A well-deserved showcase for Samuel L. Jackson. Secret Invasion's
Just talk. Just speak.
I would speak, but you're making me nervous. You're being judgmental this morning. Secret Invasion steadies itself after a somewhat slow start by taking the MCU into a darker, more mature direction. It is darker and very mature. Actually, I feel like they kind of ripped the Band-Aid off a little too hard with Secret Invasion, especially for the fact that nobody watched it at all. They should have been a little bit more, I guess they were a little bit more violent in Falcon Winter Soldier when he cut that guy's head off.
I mean, we don't know if he cut the head off. It looked like he was going to hit him in the chest. I feel like he cut his shoulders and head off.
Yeah. Well, I just hoped his head came off. That's all I wanted.
Maybe he might have only caved his chest in. Who knows?
Didn't he hit him multiple times?
Yeah.
I don't know. And he's a super soldier, coming with a vibranium shield. I don't know.
It's the cutting bit I'm not sure about. Is he cutting?
Or is it blunt force?
It's got. I don't think it's a sharp edge.
It's not. But we've seen Captain America cut arms off of aliens.
Break arms off.
He cut an arm off of an alien.
He broke it off, and it was a gun arm, so it might have been part.
Gun.
Yeah, it might have been biomechanical.
Right. That's true too. I
guess.
We
see it bounce off walls. It doesn't. I mean, sometimes it does embed into walls, but also sometimes it bounces off.
Also it cut robots in half, which I'm sure a robot's way harder to cut in half than a person.
They're mechanical, though. You just gotta break them in half.
But it's robot. It's metal.
Yeah, but you're just breaking it.
We're not stronger than metal.
They're parts that are interlinked. You just hit the links, and then the parts break apart. It's not. You don't have to cut. Right?
They're like armored, those things.
And again, the shield bounces off of walls. If it had a sharp edge, it would embed in every wall it hit.
The science is shaky on that shield.
I don't think. Yeah, you don't throw knives at the wall and they bounce off.
I want to read some of the Rotten reviews. Secret Invasion is the epitome of the Marvel TV and film franchise. Even an arm chase through the streets. Even an arm chase through the streets of Moscow seems stunted, fake, and without life. Ooh, mean. Where it should be taut and elliptical, it is insistently talky and overripe with exposition. Where it might have been quietly gripping, it flits between scenes of cleanly choreographed action and lethargic exchanges. Quietly gripping. I thought anytime it was two people talking ever, it was great.
Yeah.
I loved it. I was like, cool. I do think the problem is, especially, and we talk about the finales doing this all the time. It ended with a crazy bombastic superhero fight, and now I'm seeing where the hundreds of millions of dollars supposedly went. Whereas before it was like, man, we were just in a bunch of rooms talking for like 5 episodes.
I can't imagine anybody watching this show and going, oh man, the action scenes were good. That's what all my attention and admiration goes to, but these dang talking scenes got in the way. Not for this show.
No. But yeah, that's the thing though. They all be doing it though. All the Marvel shows, they'll come up with a good tone and they'll actually sit and explore that tone for a little bit, but then they all come back to big CGI fight at the end. It's like, come on, man. Can we not? Like, for a second, there was a second in the finale where I thought, maybe this ends in the conversation. When it was Sam Jackson and Gravik sitting there having that whole exchange, I'm like, okay, and then maybe Sam Jackson is going to have he's going to lay down some cool words and maybe convince Gravik to maybe turn, or maybe he'll say some words and then shoot him in the back of the head somewhere. Like, I thought it was going to be more low-key. And then crazy bombastic 2 Super Skrulls fighting and shape-shifting and all this. It's like, I mean, I thought that was cool. I like seeing that Super Skrull fight.
Loki didn't necessarily end in a big CGI fight.
No, actually, yeah, you're right. But
Their second to last episode had the big CGI monster.
But Loki's the only one guaranteed as season 2. Whereas all the other ones, you don't know if this is it.
Right.
And also, it sucks now because 1 with the Jonathan Majors thing, 2 with the strikes, and 3 with what Marvel's doing right now, period. Like, what are they doing? That is also just to set up Jonathan Majors as the next big bad. So I feel like the stakes were shifted in that for a thing. And even though they're running a big CGI fight, the second to last episode is pretty big on the CGI. Glorious purpose with Goliath. And I'm just saying that's expensive. But that yeah, you're right. Loki's different. Captain America, or Falcon and Winter Soldier, now Captain America. That one wasn't a CGI fight, but it was a big, we gotta save the people. And I actually liked the Falcon and Winter Soldier finale quite a bit. But WandaVision was like that. She-Hulk wasn't like that, but
I mean,
to a fault.
it was something else.
It's like some of these. It's weird.
Hawkeye wasn't really like that. I mean, there was a big fight. Yes,
big fight.
But it was like
Hawkeye it sucks because I think Hawkeye is quietly one of the better ones. But also, I have no. Maybe for Christmas we can watch it again, but I have no inclination to try to watch that anymore. Whereas I actually do. Like, I'll go back and watch an episode or clips from Falcon Winter Soldier, or even She-Hulk, or Ms. Marvel also, sometimes. Not really. And not Moon Knight. No, Moon Knight's awesome. I don't know. Like, last week we were talking all high about the Marvel shows, and I'm still high on them, but they do need to change something. That could be happening, though, because Daredevil is supposed to be 18 episodes. I assume spread over a course of some time. Maybe they'll do the first half one quarter or 1 year, and then the second half of next year or whatever.
I don't know what it is exactly that people don't like about Secret Invasion. I
think,
mean, maybe a lack of significant momentum and purpose.
Yeah.
It's like don't know what exactly it's supposed to mean. A lot of people were like, this was supposed to be the big Secret Invasion thing, and it's like,
I never thought for a second it was going to be.
I mean, I did. Again, thinking beforehand, thought so. Pretty quickly was willing to go, oh, okay, it's not that. It's not a big comic book, the Avengers are all, some of them are Skrulls thing. It's something else. Just accept
Although,
that.
you could maybe argue that this sets up still potential for that to happen.
Yes. Yeah, like it gave us a Super Skrull character who has everybody's powers.
Yeah. I love the implications of where it can go. I love that basically at the end of the day, they killed Gravik, but I don't know if they necessarily stopped much of what was going to happen. I think they just made things worse in some ways. Like, well, now people know that Skrulls exist, and now they think they suck, and they're going to go kill them all.
A lot of people complain about their not being Avengers really in it. There's a point when Nick is talking to Sonya in the graveyard before he gets his gear, where he's like, I know nobody could do this the way I can. And a lot of people were like, no, that's not good enough. But in that same conversation, he reveals to Sonya that his wife is a Skrull, and she makes a face, and he goes, now you get it. I feel like the larger implication was like, why would I get other people involved in this when it's this personal?
Oh, and they might, they literally might kill her.
If I just tell people that there are these Skrulls and they're the enemy, like, I care about several of them.
You're right.
What does that do for me? Like, if I'm handling it personally, I have a greater deal of agency in deciding who gets protected and who gets stopped.
It sucks, and now it's like, I kind of do. It sucks that nobody is watching it because it's like even if you never want, it's like Sam Jackson's getting older. I don't know how much longer we're gonna have him. I hope he's here for another 20 years. But it kind of sucks if you're going to be like, oh no, I'm not going to watch that 6-hour show where Sam Jackson acts his butt off for the whole time and like has a cool little story about they're complex issues. Like it's basically immigration type issues, but on a worse scale because like it's aliens, and how can you make space for aliens to live on the planet when nobody's making space for each other already in a lot of ways.
Yeah, it's interesting that never does Nick or really anybody humor the reality of like sharing the planet with Skrulls. They're like, Nick from the get-go is like, yeah, that would never happen. He's like, that will not happen.
Yeah, it sucks that they promised that they would try to help them find a home when I don't know. It's been clear that Nick either hasn't tried at all or hasn't tried that hard, or not to the fullest extent that he could have. Granted, he had good excuses because anytime there was an Avengers movie happening, things were going down and he was busy. But it seems like in this he's like, all right, I'm going to put in a bigger effort to try to find you a home, probably because if I don't, you're all going to die because they're hunting you down now without mercy. And I still can't. The fact that they had that Skrull Fox newscaster on there, and someone just walks up and shoots him on live TV, like he was on the news, and they shoot him, and he's dead. It's like, oh my god! And then and now there's a level of distrust amongst the normal people, like, we don't know who is or isn't a Skrull. It's like people thinking there's lizard people. It's like, oh no, they're a lizard person, and now they're just killing indiscriminately on accident, like real people. That's like, these are like crazy ideas, like big ideas. These are big ideas for a Marvel show to be broaching, and nobody's gonna watch it. It sucks. I just hope whenever Marvel finally does figure out a more surefire, more compact plan, I just hope they don't drop all these things, be like, oh, well, that didn't work, F it. Because I do want to see Gaia come back. And I want to see what her motivations are, because even though she killed Gravik, that doesn't necessarily mean she's for the Avengers, or she was good with Nick on that one thing, but her dad's dead. And her people are getting killed, and she's the most powerful of them all, and they're going to be looking to her to help. So, it's interesting. And she's basically the strongest person in the entire Marvel Universe. Well, the strongest hero, or I don't know, one of these people. Like, because she has Captain Marvel powers, and Drax powers, and Mantis powers, and she's Captain Every power. So yeah, that's kind of cool. And I love the implications that it can have, and nobody's gonna watch. So there's 2 Marvel shows left to come out this year. What was it? Echo. You remember Echo from Hawkeye? That one, they're just going to dump all of it on one day. Apparently they're not happy with it, which I'm scared about. But also, though, who's to trust Disney's judgment? It could be really good, and they could be dropping it and killing it, which sucks, but it could be good. And Loki, which supposedly they figured out the Jonathan Majors situation in the Loki show in season 2. I don't know how that's going to go, but after that,
so they're getting rid of him.
I don't know.
What do you mean figured out?
They say it will be figured out.
He's been accused of crimes. Has he been what is there going to be a trial, or was that done?
I think it's going back and forth.
If he hasn't had a trial, if it hasn't been settled, then to say you figured it out means you got rid of him.
I think they just said it'll be figured out. I don't think they had it figured out when they said that. I think they hope by the time the final episode of season 2 comes out that it will have been figured out.
You cannot describe a situation as figured out if there's going to be a trial where he might be found guilty, and then you're expected to address it again.
But they can still maybe figure out a way to maybe not kill him, but keep it open for him to come back, but also make it look like, oh no, he's dead now, ish, but not too dead. I don't know. It's complicated, but I think Quantumania did the same thing in a way, like when he got sucked into that thing or whatever.
No,
it was like Is he dead or not dead?
No. No.
I mean, Scott even thought, like, we know as an audience members, oh, he's probably not dead.
No. Kang, irrelevant. Jonathan Majors.
But not totally irrelevant. Or they could also maybe change his face, though. They could do that. They could be like, oh. Because they keep talking about, all my Kangs are going to come out and fight each other. We're just going to suck when all the Kangs come out and they all don't look like Jonathan Majors.
They've already seen them, and they are Jonathan Majors. That's what I'm saying. So the Kang was irrelevant because we did already see the rest. They are Jonathan Majors.
Yeah, it sucks.
So it doesn't matter if the Kang in Quantumania died or not. The rest are Jonathan Majors. We saw them already.
They should have just deleted that scene. First of all, that scene's bad. It sucked. Did you watch it?
Yeah.
Did I show it to you?
I think we watched it when, yeah.
Man, that scene sucked.
No.
No?
Yeah, no, why?
It's goofy.
So?
It was too goofy for me.
Not even really goofy.
It's like Jonathan Majors doing a bunch of different voices and then standing in a big green screen room yelling at literally himself.
Yeah. Great.
It could have been better. I'm curious. It's a weird time, though, right now. So, yeah, I think I saw that Secret Invasion was the least rated Marvel show. But I think that's more due to people's fatigue in general with what's been going on, and maybe with the Marvel shows specifically.
The conversation between Gravik and what we thought was Nick but isn't, that was like standout.
Spectacular.
Standout scene, standout conversation, standout performance, specifically by the guy playing Gravik. That was great.
I loved how it kind of started off a little bit lower, like he was on top of the situation in the beginning of the scene, and he was just like calm, cool, collected, like, you're gonna die without those pills. And then he keeps talking, and he's kind of riling himself up as he continues to just yammer on to Nick. And then, yeah, there's like the gravitas. I don't know if it's gravitas or just straight, like, it could be like, maybe he was stupid to even try doing it. I hope he discussed it with Sam Jackson first when he literally grabbed his entire face.
He had to. There's no who's
gonna
got
just
guts. You're like, hey, listen, if I gotta grab your face, Sam Jackson, I'll do it.
Now I'm just imagining him like whisper before this long monologue, "Can I grab your face?" And Sam Jackson being like, "Yeah, go for it." I can imagine Sam Jackson being like, "Go for it." I don't think Sam Jackson would say no. I just don't know if you would spring that up on him without saying it. But also, I feel like if you did spring it up on him without telling him first, that is a little gangster. That's like, oh man, look at this actor. First he's delivering an epic monologue, and now he's grabbing Sam Jackson's face. Hey, get your hands off him. Get his face.
He did such a great job of communicating the actual depth of his character in that, because it was like, at that point, he was making it pretty clear in the way he spoke that, like, it's not that he enjoyed killing. He was like, no, I specifically became a killer on command, and I'm getting revenge on you. Like, it made clear in that conversation that, like, what he was gonna do and his actual personal interests, they're not necessarily aligned. He wants revenge, and he'll kill his own people just to make Nick suffer.
But I also really, I love that, and I love the fact and that he's like, do you remember this guy's face? This is the first guy I killed. It's like, oh man. And Nick will shoot a scroll and not give a flip. But this guy, he hates the fact that he ever killed. And he is, like, making sure, like, even though he's like, I'm going to kill more people. But he's like, I'm not going to forget the face of the first man. And a person who's not even his species, who is a human, which the humans are jerks. All humans suck. Humans suck in this show. F the humans. So, like, all that going on. And, yeah, one thing I love most about Secret Invasion, that it sucks that they're doing it so well with this show and haven't done it with other shows and nobody's going to watch this show do it, is, like, the themes are, I think they're pretty clear, pretty meaningful. The arcs, the motivations, like, anytime, and you were talking about before, like, when Gravik killed one of his people, you loved when those people then turned on him, and then he had to basically show, hey, I'll beat you all up.
Yeah, I'm pretty certain we don't see him around other Skrulls after that.
Yeah, I think he's by himself.
From that point to the end, he's just, he goads Nick into meeting him. He doesn't surround himself with any other people. Yeah, who do you trust at that point?
Yeah, and just the idea of, like, in that whole speech, we get his motivations. We see the parallels between him and Nick Fury. We're seeing those things be further explored with Nick and his wife, and Talos and his daughter, and I just loved all the pieces. It's like, where all these people stand on the issues of the Skrulls and how much they want to be involved with the humans and all this. And you also see where they start to cross paths on their beliefs. Like, oh, well, I believe this, but I don't believe in that, and all this. It's good stuff, whereas sometimes, in some of the Marvel shows, when you get to the finale, and you kind of wish you would have maybe the villain, like, thoroughly explain their whole like, what the fudge is your deal, and in an authentic and good way, and then a lot of times they'll just divulge into, I hate you because you burnt my coffee.
Yeah, so some of the people up to this point might have complained, like, for example, about Gravik killing one of his own men, because they might feel like, oh, he says he's going to, help his people out, and it doesn't seem like his actions are fully dedicated to that cause. Well, for me personally, throughout the show, it kind of seemed like he's always on a climb for power, so it was like, whether he's trying to get that power for his people or for personal gain didn't have to be clear at that point. Like, it could be ambiguous, and I'm not necessarily, if he doesn't seem fully dedicated to saving the Skrulls, so be it. Again, I'm still open to the possibility he just wants personal power. By the end of the show, with this conversation, it's pretty clear and pretty well expressed that his actual conflict is a personal one. Mm-hmm. Like, however much he cares about the Skrulls or not, like, is secondary to, like, what he's doing is actually, it's about himself. It's about how he was asked to do things he didn't like. He felt betrayed. He felt lied to. So it was like, good. And this is exactly the kind of guy who can kill his own people. Like that was always something proposed. Oh, I'm doing this for them, but it was always fairly not clear, but it was always well enough in there.
There's like
no, he isn't.
Yeah, there's something else in, like, a different motivating factor.
Yeah, it was never like a continuity error. It was never like a plot hole. Like, at any point you could have looked at what he was doing and go, well, maybe it's not really about them. Mm-hmm. It's not inconsistent in that way. And then they leaned into that and they settled it and expressed it. It was great.
The fact that they literally, like, his first action in the show, that's like, well, after blowing up a plaza of people, by the way, he stinking turns into Sam Jackson and shoots Maria Hill and kills her. And it's like, obviously it's personal. It's like, it's the most, like, that's just mean. This is super mean. You're being mean to me. Like, he could have just blew her up along with all the people. He could have waited until she was next to a bomb and then blew her up or something. But he's like, no, I want you to see this.
Also, like, okay, saying that it's, like, all about revenge plots can suck sometimes. Mm-hmm. In this case, like, I feel like in that conversation he had in the last episode, it was done in such a way that I don't think it was stupid. It just felt bad for him. He felt like no, he was lied to.
And you saw his path. You saw him get to this point.
Yeah, he was absolutely lied to, which is a betrayal, and it did cost him dearly. It meant he had to become something he didn't want to be, and then live his entire life not being able to be himself and be accepted by the people around him. So it was like major cost, betrayal. Like, yeah, okay, it seems fair to want there to be consequences, even if you take, like, I'll get revenge on you out of it. Like, wanting there to be consequences to someone who lies to you, it's not just about revenge. It's also about principle. It's like, Nick, there should be consequences to doing this.
And it's peppered out throughout the show. Like, Talos talks about it all the time, like, one, how much the Skrulls helped Nick and his agenda and helped S.H.I.E.L.D. and helped save the world and all, probably countless times, and yet, meanwhile, Nick is like, okay, thanks for your help, you gotta stay hidden and keep on a human face and don't ever show your face, even to his wife. He doesn't necessarily say that to his wife, but his wife believes that.
By the time of this show, she's asking, like, Like, so if I were just my face, like, she's basically asking permission. Like, can I be myself around you, or am I always having to be under this facade?
And it's just, I just love it. Like, I was worried in Captain Marvel. They didn't do anything to mess up the Skrulls in my mind or anything, but I was wondering, like, what is the point of the Skrulls? How are they going to be integrated into this? Is it going to feel too busy or too goofy? And sometimes it does seem a little too goofy when you see them ears wiggle when it's a dramatic scene or something. But, like, the fact that they've imbued the Skrulls with a bunch of depth and, like, saying a lot of things about, like, how we treat maybe some, like, people we don't, like I said, I keep going back to, like, the idea of immigrants and the idea of, like, they might be illegal immigrants or something, and we treat them like garbage. Meanwhile, they're technically a big piece of the backbone of, like, our workforce or something.
Right. Like here, like in the South, like illegal, specifically illegal immigrants power the agricultural industry.
Exactly. So it's like, this is a stupid Marvel show with aliens, and they're grazing these ideas, and they're doing it in cool ways, and I love it when there's just two characters talking in a train or something, or in a car, or at the dining room table. Like, it's good stuff.
I said before that the Secret Invasion's respect for, like, character and interpersonal conversation and conflict, while, you know, just not getting into spectacle and, you know, like, cool action or anything, is similar to how The Last of Us had, like, a respect for character and story, but didn't get in action. It's like, it would have been worth something. I wish it was there, but also, like, the amount of reverence you paid here stands out. And this, like, the way they let actors chew up scenes in this show stands out from all of it. All the other shows. So, like, to think that people wouldn't watch it, it's like, there's something there that you'll miss, and that's unfortunate.
Yeah, it sucks. It sucks. It's like, as much as people want to trash on the Marvel machine and being like, oh, they divulged into the samey stuff, and I'm not going to tell anybody that some of the samey stuff isn't still there, but it's like, you're still missing some good, like, this is some gold juice right here. It's like, and plus, the fact that it's like a show that follows an old man. It follows Sam Jackson. And at first, two old men, you know, Sam Jackson and Talos. I love the idea. It's like True Detective with two old guys. It's the last two episodes of True Detective, the entire show.